some way, somehow, I ended up in that Orpheum Theater for the Justin Timberlake one-night engagement here in Memphis on Friday night. Most of you all know there was a ticket lottery system that when Justin Timberlake announced that he was coming home to Memphis to play this one-night show, you could go on Ticketmaster, you could pay $1, and you would enter this ticket lottery. And I saw the reports that between like 140, 150,000 people applied for these tickets. And the Orpheum is a relatively small-ish theater, an intimate venue, you would call it. And so it probably holds like 2,500, maybe 3,000 tops. So a lot of people weren't going to get tickets. And we talked about this on the show on Friday of last week. I didn't get tickets. CJ didn't get tickets. It felt like everybody in the city of Memphis did not get tickets to this show because it wasn't limited. They didn't do like a zip code limitation. You could live anywhere in the United States and apply to get tickets. So a lot of people got tickets from out of town. I agree with that entirely, especially because the weather rolls through last week and it creates icy roads that made it unsafe and like unattainable for some of these people who got tickets to make their way to the Orpheum. And we were begging and pleading on Friday's show, like, oh, I hope there's a backup email list. Like maybe they'll come through for Memphians in the final hour and say, all right, we're going to go back around and select some of the people who live perhaps closer to the Orpheum. They did not. Friday rolls around, and I accepted defeat. Like, I wasn't going to see Justin Timberlake this time around. Chris and I went out to a very early bird special old people dinner at like 5 o'clock. Shout out SOB, one of the restaurants that was open downtown over the weekend. Support your local businesses. This has been a brutal stretch for restaurants, especially with the water situation now.
If you don't want to eat, just go on and buy gift cards.
Yes. Oh, perfection. And find a way to support the servers who are, risking their own lives going out on the icy roads. But anyway, we had a lovely dinner at SOB. And as we left, we thought about it. We were like, what if we just walked down to the Orpheum and just saw if we could get in? At this point, it was about 2.5 hours before the show was going to start, but it was also 10 degrees. And we just looked at each other and said, no, it's so cold. The odds are like 99.9% that we're not going to do it. So let's just go home. We'll watch a movie. We'll have a relaxing night in, which is what we started to do. We went home, we watched Saltburn finally. I am so thankful, thank you, that I did not watch that movie with either of my parents, but it was wonderful, really enjoyed it. The movie ends, I hop on Twitter, and I've been tagged in all of these videos of the Orpheum of all these empty seats. Like, it's dead in there. 2, there's a ton of empty seats at the Orpheum, and there was a lot of encouragement from people on Twitter being like, you should go down and try. And I specifically want to shout out Brent Scroggins, who messaged me, DM'd me, and said, you got to go try. Just go do it. Just act like you belong there. And I looked at Chris on the couch, and he looked at me, and I said, should we do it? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, I think we should go try and do this. And in the back of my head was a reminder from my mom, who taught me from a very early age, you don't give up until the doors are locked. Like, my mom used to take me to theater shows where we couldn't get tickets, where they said it was sold out, where it was impossible to get in, and we would just hang out. And the hope was someone wouldn't show up, and there would be last-second discounted tickets to make sure that the theater was full. And so I took that mentality, and I didn't put on any nice clothes. I wore leggings and my little beanie, and we grabbed our friend Kelly on our walk over because she lives right there too, and we just walked over to the Orpheum, and we get there, and it's a ghost town. Like, there's nobody outside except for 3 security guards out front. It says no vacancies on the marquee at the Orpheum. And we just go to the security guards. We're like, hey, we saw that, there's a lot of empty seats in there. We're big Justin Timberlake fans. Is there any way we can get in? And they were like, we can't really help you, but you could go to the box office. And there's all these gates that were clearly keeping people out. So we were trying to figure out how to get to the box office. During that time, this magical man pops his head out the door, and he has a pass around his neck. And the pass is something Justin Timberlake related. And like, obviously he's part of the team. He's with the band. And he looks at us. Yes, question?
Before you get to what he said.
Yes.
2 things real quick.
Okay.
Brent has messaged me before. Screw you. You could have messaged me the same thing. 1. 2, what color was this man?
I think he was white.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure this wasn't a magical Negro just popping out.
No.
Okay.
That would have been
all right.
Too literary at this point. But he goes out, and suddenly it feels like we're in the middle of a Disney Channel original movie. Like, let's watch a Disney Channel movie. Because he just looks at us and he goes, how many of you are there? Are you trying to see the show? We're like, 3. And he's like, okay. And then there were a couple people behind us and a couple people off to the side. And he's like doing a head count. He goes, all right, you all just come with me. Just come with me. And we're like, Okay, so we just start following this man into the Orpheum, and like security tries to stop us. They're like, they can't come in. They don't have tickets. And he's like, no, it's okay. They're with me. And we're like, yeah, we're with him. And security tries again. They're like, we were, told, we were ordered not to let, because no, just, he flashes that magical pass. And we follow him up the stairs, and he goes, you guys have to go to the very top. He's like, don't try to go somewhere else. You have to go to the very top. And I didn't even know there was a 4th level at the Orpheum until Friday, but there was a 4th level at the Orpheum, and he led us all the way to the tippity-toppity of that theater. And we sat down 3 minutes before it started, and it was incredible. Like, I turned to Chris halfway through the show, and I said, I fear Justin Timberlake still has it. And I fear he is very, very back and going to have quite the comeback this year. He played one song off his new album, debuted it. It's called Selfish. You can't download it yet, so we got a sneak peek of that. But the whole set was just hit after hit. It started with Sexy Back. It ended with Mirrors, Push Your Love Girl, Summer Love, Senorita, Rock Your Body. He did a whole DJ set in the middle of it. He went straight from the intro of Holy Grail into Cry Me a River, which was probably my favorite transition of the evening. And he's such a good performer. And I think this show was for a documentary. There was Justin Timberlake documentary LLC signs all over the place. There were camera crews. So I think, coming home to Memphis, we sang happy birthday to his mom. If you told little Jessie that one day she would sing happy birthday to Lynn Timberlake in Memphis, Tennessee, home of Justin Timberlake, which is all I knew, forget about Elvis, all I knew growing up was that Memphis, Tennessee is where Justin Timberlake is from, because in every little NSYNC pocketbook where it says so-and-so hometown for Justin Timberlake, it was Memphis, Tennessee. And there's that video of him in front of the Mississippi River with the Bass Pro Pyramid in the background. And he's like, this is my home, Memphis, Tennessee. That's what I knew of him. So it was incredible. But it was like one of those only happens in... Where else can you walk to the front of a theater 5 minutes before the show starts for Justin Timberlake, one of the biggest names in the world, and you're like, I'm a really big fan. Can we get in? Only in Memphis.
In the movies.
Only in Memphis in the movies. R.I.P. the great Don Poirier, celebrating not celebrating, but remembering his untimely death over the weekend. And I thought about that quote often because it fit so perfect. It was wild. Top 5 Memphis night for me. Oh. Top 5 Memphis night. Because it was magical.
This summer, can we get, we got so much going on right now, but this summer I want to hear your top 5 Memphis nights, because everybody's top 5 is different and it's all fun. I know I've had the Orpheum, I would assume would be in most people's top Memphis nights because it's one of those venues. Like, it's a beautiful venue.
Yeah.
You feel classy walking in there, feel almost a little old timey walking in there. And then if you can get in there and you see Justin Timberlake perform, yo, that's incredible. I was seriously jealous and am still jealous of you and your proximity to Justin Timberlake and getting to see him perform. Overall, how was the show? Like 1 to 10.
It was everything that I wanted his Man in the Woods tour that rolled through here a couple years ago to be, which it was not. He didn't play a single song from Man in the Woods. The man has learned.
Nor should he.
Nor should he. There is not one that should make the cut, and it didn't. I thought during it that he was going to announce a Vegas residency because it felt very Vegas resident set-like, going through all his years of hits. Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC was there. I almost lost my damn mind. He didn't perform, and I was really upset about it. They gave like 2 teasers. They did like the interlude of Gone and Girlfriend, and I said, oh my God, we're gonna get an NSYNC reunion, and I am going to lose my mind. They did not. He is going on tour again. He said, I'll see you on tour. So that was the big announcement. And his album's name, which is Everything I Thought I Was, is coming soon. And if he goes back to the Justified, because I listen to a lot of NSYNC throwbacks, the Justified, the 2020 Experience, anything and everything he did with Timbaland along the way, like, it'll be great. It'll be more hits.
And this is what makes his Super Bowl performance so infuriating. Because
yes.
he did,
oh my God,
he
yes.
did nothing but Man in the Woods. He did I Got That Feeling. He did the Man in the Woods stuff. And then he did the tribute to Prince, which Prince didn't want. And there was beef with him and Prince. And like, why are you doing that in that way when Prince said he didn't want it? It was just a bad thing for him, especially when you look at it and say, you've got actual hits that are universally loved by everybody. Mm-hmm. Why aren't you doing those, right? Like Man of the Woods, you experimented, and that's fine. It failed. That would be like Andre 3000 getting the Super Bowl halftime show and just coming out playing the flute the whole time. It's like, okay.
Right.
Like, no, give us some Hey Ya, give us some Roses, give us some Sorry Miss Jackson, Bombs Over Baghdad. Give us that. Don't give us the flute thing. Experiment. Good experiment. It failed. Don't perform that live anymore. Like Man of the Woods, just leave that alone. You have hits, you have flops. That's an absolute flop. Don't do that at all when you go on tour, Justin.
You know what song I hate? The Troll song.
Which one?
I got this feeling inside. But you want to know what song I loved Friday night? The stupid Troll song, because it fit. Like, it was something that still worked, and it's like a good little bop, and there were pretty lights going around. It was all rainbow colored, and
sunshine
he's dancing pocket. And next thing I know, I'm singing along happily. So you know Justin Timberlake put on a good show. When I even was cool with Can't Stop the Feeling in my body.
That's a good song. Wait, why?
No, it is not. That is not a good song.
That song is a good song. That song should be on your happy list. How's that not on your happy list?
It's one of the overplayed songs. I'll tell you a song that is on my happy list is Mirrors, and I did cry at the end. So that is that. It's fine. I listened to it on my drive away from college for the last time, and it has just stuck with me for a long, long time. And he ends with that, and I was like, he better end with Mirrors. He better end with Mirrors. And then he ended with Mirrors. And next thing I knew, I was in tears, and Chris was like... And I was like, yes. And story correction from Mr. Chris Luther in the midst. He said, hold the effing phone. I said, yeah, let's go. You made me sound like a Scrooge. I did not mean to make Chris sound like a Scrooge. He did say, let's go. It is a good reminder. Just go. Just go try. Go try to do the thing. Because what's the worst thing that would have happened? We got turned away, and instead we ended up having a magical night at the Orpheum watching Justin Timberlake.